Why are so many people leaving big cities like San Francisco, Seattle, and Los Angeles and moving right here to Bend, Oregon? In this video, we're breaking down the real reasons behind the movement, and we're looking at all the factors. We're looking at housing, affordability, jobs, lifestyle, culture, and even the trade-offs that come with moving here to the high desert. So by the end of this video, you'll have a good sense of why Bend has become one of the most desirable small cities in America, why it's growing so quickly, and whether it's the right place for you to move to. So without further ado, let's get into it. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Luke Callahan. I'm a top realtor here in Bend, and I specialize in helping people like you move to Bend every single day. And we focus on basically helping to make sure that if you're going to move here, not only are you moving here for the right reasons and you know all the pros and cons of this place, but most importantly is that you choose the right neighborhood when you move here, because it's so easy to find a house you like, but if it's in a neighborhood that you just didn't know what you don't know before you move to a place, that can be a bummer. And so that's my job. My job is to make sure we place you in kind of the right neighborhood, the right vibe that you're looking for, that lifestyle, because it can vary quite a bit from place to place. So, all right, let's start with the obvious. Housing. In major metros like San Francisco, Seattle, and Los Angeles, the median home prices often push well over $1 million. San Francisco's around 1.3 million, Seattle is at 900, and LA is of course right around 1.03 million. Now, compare that to Bend. The median price here in Bend is about 720,000. So that's nearly half of what you'd pay in San Francisco. The cost saving here is incredible. And you're surrounded by mountain views, blue skies, world-class recreation, and a great art, culture, dining scene. So to locals, yes, Bend can feel expensive because it's gotten way more expensive in the last few years. But if you're coming from the coast, it's a dramatic step down in cost, and the value goes far beyond the price. Here, it's not just cheaper homes, it's more home than you had before and more lifestyle for your money. You're gonna find larger lots, new builds, neighborhoods where the trails, the parks, and the open space are a part of daily life, where you can bike into downtown. Traffic isn't bad. It's just pretty sweet here. And the best part is it's not just Bend. The surrounding towns are also seeing explosive growth. It's Central Oregon in general. And to that, I mean, we're talking about Redmond, Tumalo, Sisters. Redmond has a price tag, $510,000 median price. So it's becoming a great alternative if you want access to Bend's lifestyle, but you want that lower median price point. Similarly to the west, if you're looking for some acreage, but you still want to be right in the back door to Bend, you gotta look at Tumalo, because we've got acreage, elbow room, and Tumalo, the little town itself, is growing with the Bite, this food cart spot where you can get great food and great beers. And then on top of that, we've got Sisters, which is its own amazing small town charm, where you can get the small town, true, beautiful, kind of that old west kind of vibe, downtown Sisters, and get into a house pretty much comparable to Bend, but you're gonna get kind of the small town, mountain town vibe, where Bend has become kind of the mid-sized town. And here in Bend, we've got a wide range of new construction as well. It's booming all over the city, from Northwest Crossing with a median price point of about 1.2 million on the west side, to the entry-level homes on the east side in Stevens Ranch, where we're looking at 525K builds by D.R. Horton, kind of the entry-level homes, so that you've really got new construction that runs the gamut. So if you're looking to move here, you can pretty much wave a magic wand and get what you're looking for. In fact, I recently worked with a couple from the Bay Area. They sold a 1,200 square foot bungalow in Oakland, and with that, they were able to buy a 2,800 square foot newer home in Bend. I mean, how amazing is that? You're moving out of the city, out of the fray, into a great lifestyle, and double the size of your home. Pretty cool. And it's surrounded by parks, trails, mountain views. I mean, it's not bad. So, what we mean when we say affordability meets lifestyle here in Bend. But of course, housing only tells one part of the story. The real question is, can you work and thrive here? So, to answer that, let's take a look at what the job market's like. The jobs and economic stability. Bend's economy might not match the size of, say, Seattle, San Francisco, LA, but it's surprisingly diverse and resilient when it comes to jobs. We've got a balanced mix of healthcare, education, tech, manufacturing, and tourism. Some of our biggest employers include the Brightwood Corporation, who is actually the largest independent manufacturer of window and patio door components. We have Basic Solutions in Redmond, where they're producing advanced HVAC and clean room systems that are used to supply the big data center boom in Central Oregon. And one of our local heroes, Les Schwab Tires. They started right here in Central Oregon, and now they employ about 7,000 people nationwide. Pretty proud of Les Schwab, and really it's just the best tire shop. They have sold since, but they're still a great company. Epic Aircraft is pretty cool too. They're building luxury turboprop planes, say that 10 times fast, and they compete on a global scale, and they're right here in Bend. Also, we've got Lonza Pharmaceuticals, which is Bend's, originally started as Bend Research back in the 70s, and they basically produce the ingredients for pharmaceutical companies. Don't quote me on that. That's what I understand. If you know better, teach me. St. Charles, of course, is our medical center, and it's one of the region's largest employers, and it attracts medical professionals from all across the Northwest. And like any good nurse will tell you here in Bend, there is opportunity for St. Charles to expand because Bend has grown so rapidly in the last few years. They've got a great center, they've got great facilities, and they're planning to grow even more. And then, of course, there's the whole BYOJ thing. That's right. Bring your job, bring your dog, and bring your 4Runner and get on over here. That's right. This is the heartland of the remote work revolution. Since 2020, thousands of people have moved to Bend while keeping their coastal salaries, and they've been able to trade the cramped apartments in the Bay in LA for these mountain views, bike rides to work, or just a walk to your desk. So if you've managed to escape the return to work crusade and you're still battling soul-crushing traffic in the Bay, what are you waiting for? But one caveat I want to mention about this whole return to work movement, I know there's been a lot of pressure to get back to the office, get back to that city, get back to that commute in the South Bay. I know it, I feel it. I used to live in Sunnyvale, I get it. But I've seen it from some of my clients where they've actually been able to bring their job here and negotiate a deal where they basically commute to the Bay or LA. The flights are like an hour and a half. So they're pretty easy direct flights from the Redmond airport, which is just 20 minutes from Bend. And they're actually able to just commute for like a day or two a week down to the Bay and then get back to the life they want here in Bend. So you never know what's possible until you ask. If your employers like you, they might be down. Don't rule it out. We've also got the startup scene here. Most notably, we have Dutchie, which is a tech platform for cannabis commerce. And then we've got Golf Board, who's super fun. They basically make personal golf boards for surfing the golf course in style. And then in the more professional biotech space, we've got Amplion, which is a life sciences company that basically helps aggregate, process data, and provide evidence-based insights to practitioners. So if you're into the startup scene, there's plenty of ambition here in Bend. There's a ton of co-working options, which I'll talk about in a bit, but this is a place for innovation, ambition, and to make things happen. In fact, Wallet Hub ranked Bend the 7th best small city in America to start a business in 2025. So it's pretty cool. And as far as supporting our local entrepreneurs, the tech scene, freelancers, Bend has 8 co-working spaces in a population of 107,000. That's pretty good. So we've got the Haven overlooking the Deschutes River to Embark. We have Embark, the Work Collective, and Bend Tech co-working downtown. Here you're going to find a good, strong, connected business community. There's a real sense of support and entrepreneurial spirit to make things happen here. I gotta say, unlike some of the other cities in Oregon, looking at you, Eugene, and even Portland, they can be very challenging for business owners. There's a real NIMBY sense there, not in my backyard. But here in Bend, and especially Redmond and the outlying areas, there is a very strong desire to bring businesses here. There's a strong desire to make this a resilient, diverse community economic-wise. So if you have aspirations, you want to help grow this scene, there's a lot of opportunity here. Something about the sunlight on the east side of the Cascades that builds and drives ambition. It's a real thing, and you can feel it in Bend here better than you can in Portland or Eugene. But let's be honest, people don't move here just for a paycheck. In fact, they're moving here for a better lifestyle. Let's talk about why life feels a little bit different here in Bend. Bend consistently ranks as one of the best small cities in America. We're talking about the outdoor access, the lifestyle, and just the general livability. Within minutes, wherever you are, you could be hiking, biking, skiing at Bachelor, fly fishing, paddle boarding, tubing the river, and it's all here in your backyard. A lot of families love the Bend Lapine School District with the smaller class sizes, modern campuses, and strong community support. The healthcare is excellent, like I mentioned with St. Charles, and they continue to expand their resources. And then, of course, there's the quality of life. The average commute time in Bend is right around 15 to 20 minutes, and that's if you have to kind of cross Bend east to west or north to south. Now compare that to that soul-crushing traffic in Seattle or the Bay. I know it, where it's just like a causeway or breezeway, expressway, where all you can see is lights in the distance. You only have to go like 2 miles, but you just see stoplight after stoplight after stoplight on the horizon. Oof, it's crushing. In fact, one of the most notable things a client said to me the other day wasn't that how much house we could afford that shocked us, but it was how much time we got back. Instead of having these hour-long commutes each direction, we were all of a sudden home together with our family in the evenings. And it's funny what a difference difference an hour can make in the evening for settling in, having dinner together, and just sharing that time with one another. So the commute is no joke. And yes, while Bend is known for its lifestyle and nature, there's also the art and culture here that's second to none. So if you're looking for great dining, great craft brewery, great coffee, great art scene, look no further than this, well, small, okay, let's call it a medium-sized mountain town. Despite its size, Bend punches above its weight when it comes to the arts, dining, and entertainment. Let's start with what we're famous for. That's right, cerveza. And I'm not talking about the large-scale guys. I'm talking about the craft breweries. In fact, we've got 26, and Bend was recently ranked number 3rd in the nation for breweries per capita. And you know who beat Bend? Portland, but not Portland, Oregon, Portland, Maine, and Asheville, North Carolina. So number 3, not bad. We've got classics like Deschutes Brewery, 10 Barrel, and fan favorites like the Crux Fermentation Project with its Sunset Beer Garden. And if you want something a little off the beaten path, there's the Ale Apothecary. So back in the day, this is one of the few breweries in America that actually the owner would forage for local ingredients from the local juniper forest. He would literally walk out along Tumalo Creek collecting the wild yeasts and black currants for his farmhouse ales. He's since sold the business, but it still keeps that same charm. And if you're not into alcohol, we've got you covered because Palette, the coffee shop, is actually one of my favorite coffee shops, transform into a non-alcoholic speakeasy of sorts called the Des Lounge that runs from Thursday to Saturday nights. So it's kind of an underground thing, and check it out if you get a chance. So Bend even has a nightlife scene for the sober life. In fact, it's growing quite a bit, which is pretty cool to see. And when it comes to food here, Bend's not just burgers and beer anymore. We're talking James Beard nominated chefs, and one of them is Joe Kim and his wife of 5 Fusion and Sushi Bar downtown. And recently they just opened Yoli, which offers a cuisine inspired by Korean cuisine. I haven't tried it, but I'm really excited to. Similarly, we've got a lot of farm-to-table options, one of which is actually a ranch-to-table option by, again, another James Beard nominated chef, John Gorham, and that is Rancher Butcher Chef. If you're looking for a good steakhouse in Bend, I look no further. Highly, highly, highly recommended. Other highlights worth checking out, we've got Zydeco Kitchen and Cocktails, where you could say they're Northwest meets New Orleans cuisine. Similarly, we've got Ariana Restaurant, fine dining staple in a craftsman bungalow, and Wild Rose for authentic Northern Thai. Like, oh, you like Thai food? You're gonna love this place. It's right downtown, super easy to access. So, and even we have Bamboo Sushi, which is pretty cool. They just opened recently, and back in the day, first moved to Portland in 2012, I used to grow microgreens for local restaurants and farmers markets, and Bamboo Sushi was one of my best clients, and it was because I grew shiso. If you don't know what shiso is, it's got this like wonderful umami flavor. It's got all these different layers to it, and apparently I had the best shiso in town, and that's why I got the client. And so anyways, I was very excited to see my friends at Bamboo Sushi open up here in Bend. And back to the show. Okay, enough about the food for now. On the art side, we've got the Tower Theater, which anchors downtown's Bend cultural scene. They've got concerts, comedies, plays, and film screenings. If you get the chance, you're here for a weekend, make sure you check out what they're offering, because there's a bunch of good stuff that's always coming through. Also, each year, Bend Film Festival and Summerfest bring the whole community downtown for 3 days of live music, local art, food trucks, and that unbeatable Bend summer vibe that everybody goes crazy for, fills up the whole place, and drives the locals nuts. You'll hear everything from folk to indie rock to blues and funk, and it's all free. And the best venue, in my opinion, in Oregon is the Hayden Homes Amphitheater. It's an amazing grass amphitheater where you can see headliners like Bob Dylan, Dave Matthews, Lainey Wilson, Kenny Chesney, Theo Von, Sierra Farrell, who is my absolute favorite, Tyler Childers, Portugal the Man, and the list goes on and on and on. And here's the best part about this venue is that if you don't feel like paying for the ticket prices, you can actually pull up your paddleboard, your raft, make a flotilla, and pop in the Deschutes to listen to the show from the river on a beautiful summer evening. It's pretty cool. And the best part about this amphitheater is that you don't have to drive to another city like Redmond for the big festivals they've got out at the fairgrounds there, because it's right in downtown Bend. You can bike there, walk there. It's awesome. Having that in your backyard is the best, truly. Yeah, I've had friends move here and say, we thought we were going to give up like the fine dining and nightlife to live in this little mountain town, but we were so wrong. In fact, it's like we eat out, we eat better, our cost of living is lower, we get to walk to restaurants, bike to restaurants. I was like, yeah, this place is cool. Now let's talk about the biggest reason people choose Bend: the work-life balance. The Bend lifestyle: work less, live more, do more, live more, be together. For many people fleeing the bigger cities, it's not just about the money, it's about the time. And it's about time you get over here, if you don't mind me saying. In Bend, life runs at a different pace. You got shorter commutes, fewer crowds, and just more space to breathe, more space to explore. I mean, we're basically at base camp to explore the whole wonderful mountain desert scene that Oregon has to offer. And the cool part about that is the companies here expect that you might ski in the morning, bike after work. A lot of remote workers I know, they work their tails off until the morning, late afternoon, early afternoon, and then they can boogie. Especially if they're on East Coast time remote work, it's the best. By 2 o'clock, you're free. So if you're one of the blessed, you're retired or you're a remote worker, so you got an East Coast gig where you're done by 2 o'clock, you can take your Zoom calls in the morning and be paddleboarding, pickleballing, skiing, mountain biking, trail running, whatever it is you want to do by 2 o'clock. It's pretty cool. I've had families tell me over and over the same thing, that evenings, weekends are no longer swallowed by traffic and errands. You get your Costco done and then you get out, you do the sports ball, get up on the mountain. But either way, you're outside, you're together. And another cool part about Bend is that there's actually seasons here. And I know you folks in LA like to be like, oh, seasons. Everybody wants to talk about seasons when they don't live somewhere beautiful like LA. But when you're cruising in that 105-degree heat day after day all summer long, and then you realize you can come to Bend, enjoy the summer, but then you can enjoy the fall, all the leaves turning like the larches in Chevelin Park, and then the winter gives way to a 20-minute commute to the best skiing in Oregon, and then the spring comes, and if you're a total nerd like I am, you're out in the mountains bushwhacking, looking for those morels that have popped up in the recent wildfires, all to come back to summer again where everybody's feasting together. These 4 seasons are sweet. They're amazing. The winter in the Northwest is the hardest part about living in the Northwest. I'll talk about that a bit more, but let me tell you something here, Sonny. People come to the Northwest and they fall in love with it when they come in the summertime. It's like coming to Sweden. It truly is. It's like Scandinavia. Everything's blooming. Berries are everywhere. Fruit's falling. It's the harvest season. It's amazing. And then they get here and they stay here, and then winter comes and they get sad and pale. Oh, it's not good. But let me tell you, here in Bend is very different than the west side of the Cascades. The wet side of the Cascades is bleak in the winter. We're talking 5 months of just soul-crushing gray. But in Bend, we have 300 days of glorious sun. And yes, you're not in Phoenix for the winter, but if you like to ski, you like the winter sports, there is no place better in Oregon for the winter time. And in my opinion, everywhere has great summer in Oregon, but only the east side of the Cascades has great winter in Oregon. And to be totally honest, I haven't mentioned before, I'm a realtor here in Bend, and I'm not trying to sell you a house. In fact, my job truly is to protect you. I want to make sure that whatever purchase you make is the right one. And so I'm going to be more in the camp of trying to show you anything that you haven't seen before. So with that said, let's talk about the trade-offs, one of which is the housing costs. And yes, like I mentioned before, Bend feels affordable compared to California or Seattle. But as we locals know, prices have risen sharply over the last decade. I mean, they've more than doubled in the last 7 or 8 years. It's crazy. We're at around $720,000 median price. It's going to keep climbing, and we're much higher than most of Oregon. Secondly, the inventory. Luckily, we're just entering a buyer's market right now, but like the recent history, the inventory has been super low. So if you wanted to get here, you needed to make a move quick, like a good house that you're looking for in the right neighborhood. It goes quick, so you need to be ready to move. If you are thinking about moving here, let me tell you a little bit about how it works if you're going to work with me, or anybody really. But say the way I work is that, say you want to come here, first you just get here and I give you a lay of the land. Unless it's super urgent, you got a 1031 exchange, or you just know you're ready to move right now, we do that. But if you are trying to do it my way, which is to protect you, I want you to come here and I want to show you around, and I want you to get a sense of the different neighborhoods, and I want you to really get a feel for a place, and then I want you to see a little bit of the housing inventory that we have in each neighborhood. And then you go home, you let that all kind of percolate, and then in a few months, weeks, years, whatever, you give me a call and we have our search refined, and then we make it happen on that second trip. That's really when the magic happens, because you have to see the place, you have to experience it. Even if you've been to Bend before with the intention of looking at a house, it's really helpful to see and just feel the neighborhood. So with all of that said, if inventory's tight, you want to be ready to roll. You want to be knowing that the neighborhood is a good fit for you. Luckily, we're entering this buyer's market where there is more inventory, so you got a little bit more breathing room. So that's good. Another thing to consider is that Bend is very much a seasonal economy here. And what that means is that it swells in the summertime. People come with their tubes. I mean, they rent the tubes, but people come to experience the summer in Bend. It swells, it's crazy, it's full, it's amazing. And then in the winter, it goes more dormant. So, you still get the tourism around Skiing Bachelor because, again, it's the best mountain in Oregon. But be mindful of that. There's, it's not this town that just stays steady state year round. So you got to be ready for that. that peaks in the summer and ebbs in the winter. A lot of people love fall as like kind of the perfect in the middle. They've gone through the fray of summer and even gone through smoke season, and you never know what it's going to be significant or not. They've gone through the stress of any fires in neighboring areas, and then they can chill into fall, see the leaves turn, go on nice hikes, enjoy it. The tourism recedes and they can settle into the fall and winter. Another trade-off here is actually the weather. Now, again, like I said, in the winter, it's the best weather. In the summer, it's hotter and drier than other parts in Oregon, so you are high desert. And what that means is 3,600 feet elevation. It's drier in the way of your skin dries. You might even get like the occasional nosebleed, that kind of thing. Like you'll feel kind of a bunch of boogers in your nose, especially when you first move here. I think your body just starts to get used to it, but chapstick is real need. And then because you're at 3,600 feet, the weather can change drastically. The air's thinner, and something about the air coming, the clouds, it's like there's all this buildup when it comes to the west side of the Cascades, and it pushes and it pushes and it pushes right at like McKenzie Bridge where the pressure can build. And then once it gets over the mountains, it kind of disperses, goes quickly. I mean, it makes for really interesting weather. You'll get a lot of cool thunderstorms in the summer, which would be great if they didn't bring lightning and fires. But be mindful of that. It's drier. That's the biggest thing. What else? In the winter, you can occasionally get icy roads with the cooler weather. You got to have all-wheel drive, and also it's really good, in my opinion, to get the good snowflake-rated tires. If I'm talking the ones like I always like to have like good ice-rated tires, because man, when it just takes once or twice when you hit a patch of ice to go into oncoming traffic or anything like that. And so you got to get the soft rubber on those tires. And again, like the Northwest, the classic saying is there's no bad weather, just bad clothing. And I really believe that. And not just because I'm wearing some Nordic sweater, but it's true. I mean, if you embrace the philosophy that cotton kills and wool is everything, and similarly like dress for it and you dress your cars for it with good tires, you're stoked. But if you're not prepared for it, you don't have that good down parka, it can be downright chilly in the wintertime. Okay, that's enough on the weather. If you're coming from one of these beautiful no income tax states and you come to the Socialist Republic of Oregon, you're gonna pay for it. And we're looking at like basically 9.9% income tax. So that's no joke. Yeah, this is a sweet place to live, and you gotta pay for it, pal. And it's going to the state, and that's just the way it works. Now there's no sales tax here, which is pretty cool, but just be prepared for it. If you're also coming from communist California, then you're fine. In fact, they're pretty comparable. I think it's like 9.3% in California. But yeah, so you're looking at a pretty good tax bill. Be mindful of that. That's no joke. And finally, we've got, this place is growing. And with growing, and especially rapid growth, comes challenges, congestion around traffic. Honestly, Bend, in my opinion, has grown as gracefully as any small city or any city or business that has to grow rapidly can. And it's not just by putting a roundabout on everything. Back in the late 2010s, Portland would say put a bird on it, and here in Bend it's like put a roundabout on it. And it's true, they do, and it really helps. I love these roundabouts, and they put like art installations in the middle of the roundabouts. I mean, it's just beautiful. The growth is really well done. It's not just more of the same strip malls and that kind of like 90s car-centric development. The city has a real intention around making a walkable, bikeable, livable Bend, and it comes with some tension that I could tell you about, but that's the goal, and I think they've done a really good job at it. So it's growing. Yes, you're gonna get more congestion, but the intention, the resources are here to do it well. If you're interested, you can get involved and bring your pitchfork to city council, or bring a pie to give to folks, and it's cool. There's a real hands-on deck. If you want to show up and have your voice heard, people are willing to listen. Okay, so yes, Bend has its trade-offs, and I hope you got a good sense of them. The one thing I didn't mention is smoke in the summer. I briefly mentioned on it. That's a big thing that people aren't aware of before they move here, so I can educate you about that. I can educate you about the fire side of things, but those are the trade-offs to be aware of. For most people, these trade-offs are absolutely worth it, and people are moving here in droves. This is a special place. I think you'll love it. I really look forward to meeting you if you want to come here and find your spot to land. And as always, my name is Luke Callahan. I'm a realtor here in Bend. I specialize in helping people just like you move to Bend every single day. So without further ado, make sure you give me a call, or if you're not ready to yet, download the relocation guide. You can scan it with the QR code on your phone that's here, and click the link if you're watching this on a computer or your phone. I'm here to help in any way I can. Don't hesitate to reach out. It's never a burden. Even if you're not moving here for 2 years, truly not a burden. I love to get to know you. Without further ado, I will see you in the next video. Hope you have a wonderful day.